Psychic Holistic Spotlight. I'm Kathy Costa, your host for today. We also have Bill Hannon helping me with co-hosting for today's show. And for today's guest, it's a longtime friend. I've known her since like way back in the day. Her name is Beverly Sylvia. She's a card reader and a medium, and she does a few other things as we tend to do the longer we've been waiting for people. So did you start doing the cards first, or was you a medium first?
Actually, it was a healer first.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I started, I started hearing voices when I was a child.
Okay.
And then I kind of shut down.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you don't know what's going on, it kind of scares you. So I kind of tuned out. And I had different experiences growing up. And then was, I guess the universe spirit was trying to push me through, you know, to do things. And I would go to card readers or mediums, and they say, you know, you're supposed to be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to be doing this.
Because you think they're crazy, right?
I'm like, yeah, sure, right? Okay, yeah. I can't tell you how many times I heard it. And so finally, I guess the universe said, you're going to do it one way or another. And I had a stroke. And that's how I really got full blown into it.
Yeah.
Because I started questioning it, the way the events happened.
Okay.
I had the stroke on a Tuesday, and Saturday I was on the dance floor.
How'd that happen?
Exactly. To the amazement of Mass General and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I ended up being a case study.
Okay.
And I started questioning, you know, why did this happen, you know?
Yeah.
And as I was questioning, different things started to happen. And I got a call from Mass General saying that NPR, Richard Knox, wanted to do an interview with me. So I had done the interview. And after the interview, a gentleman was listening to the show, and at the same time, his wife was having a stroke. And he knew exactly what to do. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, this is more than a coincidence.
Yeah, really.
You know? And I kept asking the universe, I kept asking my angels, I kept asking, you know, what's the purpose? Where am I going with this? You know, it's a reason. And then all of a sudden, one of my friends, who was an artist, had called me up and said, listen, I'm going to a gallery tonight. I think you'll really be interested. And I'm thinking to myself, well, the gallery, to me, is like art.
Yeah.
And that's what she was. And I'm like, okay, something said go. Mm-hmm. And I ended up at the Wigwam. And that gallery was mediumship.
So the Wigwam was in Cape Cod, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I met Reverend Kathleen Hoffman. She happened to be the medium that was doing the service. And she brought in a brother that I had before I was born that very few people ever knew.
Yeah.
And I was so intrigued that she said, oh, we have a church right around the corner. And we have an English medium coming down. And I thought, well, that would be pretty cool. Because, you know, I see somebody from another country. And that was Brenda Cottingham at the time.
Okay.
And then I walked into the church, and that was it. They kind of grabbed me, you know, as they have a way of doing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I started getting taps on the head. I started things going around in the room, you know. And I knew I was like in the right place. But it wasn't the mediumship that I started doing, you know, because I kind of, to me, that was a big responsibility.
Yeah.
You know? So I started doing the healing.
Okay.
But I also met up with a woman, and I did, you know, Reiki.
Okay.
Down the cave.
Oh, the classes, you mean?
Classes,
okay.
Yeah. So then I became a Reiki master, and then I ended up doing this certification through the Onset Spirituals Church.
Okay.
So I got certified in healing through there, which was like a 2-year course.
Okay.
And the mediumship was the next course.
Okay.
And that kind of like, I kind of went kind of slow with that, you know, because like I said, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
You know, thinking, you know, you give somebody a reading, you
it could alter their life, yeah.
Exactly, it can alter their life. And, you know, I'm not somebody that's going to throw something out that doesn't make sense or is not factual.
Yeah.
So through that, we ended up doing services in the church, you know, and taking the course. And still, you know, I kind of kept it like inside the church.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it. It was the American Federation. First, it was the American Federation.
Oh, the spiritual churches.
Yeah, yeah. And then after that, they all Onset had their own course. So I took that too.
Okay.
So I got certified in 2 courses. Right?
For the mediumship?
Mediumship,
okay.
yeah. And the healing.
Okay.
You know.
That's both.
So,
yeah. It's interesting.
So, yeah. So, which was fine with me because I wasn't rushing, you know. I wanted to do it right.
Yeah.
So, you know, from there, it was one of the mediums that has since passed from the church. I don't know if you remember her, Beverly Sylvia.
I knew of her.
Yeah.
I didn't know her well.
She was the one that pushed me into doing readings, you know, at the fairs.
Okay.
You know.
She knew there was potential with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how I really got started into the fairs, was because of her. And it was always, I always thought the fairs were a good, you know, good cause because it goes, you know, it goes towards the organization and helps them, you know, all the various
the
fundraisers, yeah. So, you know, and then from there, you know, I'm on the board at the church.
Okay. The Onset Onset one?
Onset Spiritualist Church, yeah. And, you know, doing work through that.
Okay.
I'm also a certified angel card reader through Doreen Virtue.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
I took her very last class that she had.
Of the angel cards?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then she retired.
Yeah. It's so sad that she retired, but
Yeah.
you know, it was her choice, so.
And it was kind of funny because, you know, you throw it out to the universe, you know, should I do this? I said, well, if I can get the class, and the last class was like under $100. It was unbelievable. It was like amazing.
Yeah.
I said, well, if I could get a flight, I got the flight for like $30.
It's like, well, Spirit telling you
I
this is
said,
what you
okay,
need
if
to be
I can
doing.
get the
It was on Spirit Airlines, right?
No.
That would definitely would have been the kicker, right?
No. And then I said, well, if I get the hotels, and I went through one of those things, and I think I got $50 for the hotel.
Wow.
I think the thing altogether was under $150 for everything, you know?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I guess, you know. So I ended up, I had a great time, you know, got certified through her down in Maryland, which was, like I said, her very, very last class, you know. And so when I do my reading, you know, I also, and heal, I also do with the angels too, you know, because they were a great comfort when I was going through all my transitions and stuff like that with the stroke and all that.
Yeah.
And like I said, pushed me into what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So
It's funny how, like, you know, things happen a certain way, and like, and you just, all you gotta do is ask if this is meant to be, though, and things start falling into place. The next step, and
yeah.
it's just, I mean, who goes to Maryland for under $100 for a plane flight? Never mind a hotel.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so that definitely was a sign, though, that
Right.
you need to be doing that.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah, pretty amazing. So you do work a lot of fairs. Is there anything else? Like, do you do any one-on-ones though, or is it mostly fairs, or like with the church?
You know, I do a lot of the fundraisers through the church, but I do a lot, you know, from the fairs. I get a lot of people that will call me up. You know, I've done house parties.
Okay.
And I've done, people have come to my house, you know, I don't have a business, you know, so it's
just something that just happens when it does. Yeah.
happens when it does, yeah. So I'm not out there really pushing myself, you know, people know who I am, so,
Yeah.
you know, I like to, like I say, I like to do, I help the churches out.
Yeah.
So I'll be a guest speaker and then do the mediumship through there, or if they have a fair, help them out through there.
Yeah.
You know, food pantries, different things. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's what I like about the fairs. It's always benefiting something, some kind of organization, you know, to help, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause that's a lot of the fairs that I work with too, and I know if I asked you to come and do a lot of those with me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Thank you for that too.
oh, hey, it helps everyone else out too, though.
Yeah.
You know. So, where do you find the most interest interesting though, in what you do? Is there any one thing?
You know, it's funny how when I do readings, I'll ask people, you know, I can do the cards, and they're angel card tarot, the tarot, or or do they want to do mediumship? And sometimes people are confused, and they say, well, what, you know, what is?
Yeah, most people don't know the difference still. Yeah.
So I explain, you know, what mediumship is, and then I explain what the cards can do. You know, can ask a specific question, or if you just want something in general, like they see what's going on. And I tell them a lot of the times, you know, you can always do 50-50, you know. And it's funny how the cards, when you get the cards, spirit will come in, their loved ones will come in and sometimes interact with the cards and see what's going on. I've seen that
too,
Yeah. And see what's going on in their lives. And sometimes they're totally amazed. People will walk away amazed saying, I didn't expect that, you know. Or you'll do mediumship for them, and somebody will come in that they least expect it, you know. And it's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes what I get though too is like, oh, I wasn't expecting this to come in. I'm like, well, it doesn't matter because they know you.
Yeah.
You know, they know what's going on. So they just want to just kind of step in and help you out, you know, with the guidance and okay, what to do next. So that's what I find the most amazing with people with that. So yeah, so you see a lot of that though too. Yeah.
And then a lot of times you'll see, you know, they want a specific level one to come through.
Yeah.
It's not always. It's not always easy.
Oh no, no,
you know?
that can be a
you
tough.
You can try.
Yeah.
You know, but I always say that the people that do come through for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's usually a situation that's going on in that person's particular life. You know, that person may be good. They might be having financial difficulties. You know, their father might come through who was a whiz with budget keeping and you know, so forth. And
sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get advice.
They need.
Yeah, exactly.
Something they need.
Yeah, sometimes I get advice too.
Yeah.
I find that though too. It's like, oh, that's a good idea. Let me try that though too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I find that interesting though. Like there's someone I know that does regular client of mine though. Like one of her grandfathers passed when her father was young. So like she never met this particular grandfather. But he comes through every so often.
Right.
And he's been in spirit for, I want to say, almost 60 years. So he's been kind of like following the family for a while. You know, and she's like, well, I don't understand why he's coming through and never met him. Like, but he knows you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's like you know of him through the family line.
Sure.
Because like every time he comes to see the black and white photos.
Well, he could be part of the family line. It could be part of a soul group.
Yeah, the soul group thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I find that interesting though too. Though it's like it's like it's just they know you. They know what's going on.
Exactly.
My son just had a daughter, and you've actually touched on a message or two. And also, her aunts are psychic from the Caribbean. These Caribbean ladies,
Yeah.
cool. They're really cool people. But what was very interesting was on how they actually said my mother's mother was actually presently holding the baby's soul before it came into the baby.
That is cool stuff. Yeah, that's humbling at the same time, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's along the line of what you're saying, you know, a father or something like that. I mean, you don't know what these connections are.
Yeah.
And how they've interacted before.
Yeah. And they definitely help us along, though, too.
Mm.
You know, they give us like this one suggestion, one advice. Because, like, I always tell people, it's like, you know, just because this comes up in a meeting doesn't mean you have to do this.
Right.
But that's what the strongly suggestion, you at least think about it.
Right.
You know, especially when they're fighting a little bit, though, they don't know which way to go.
Yeah.
You know, and they just, and I tell them all the time, just take it with you. You know, at least just think about it, do a little bit of research about it. You know, then it's up to you at the end of the day if you're going to go with that advice or not, or that they're suggesting. So, you know, I find that interesting. Just take it with you.
Right.
You know, that's the best we could do sometimes, though. So,
Yeah, because we all have free will.
yes.
So, you know, you take what you want to take.
Right.
Leave the rest behind, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Right. And sometimes it's very important, besides asking for help, also recognizing that when something is given to you, to express that gratitude.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Allowing them to come in knows it's just that they think it was enough for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking once I leave, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they get a lot, sometimes the people get these nudges, though, you know, and they don't know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
You know, and like this particular loved one comes through in the reading, and I'm like, well, you know, this is that person. You know, that's why you keep thinking about them. You know, it's like, okay, it's just something that reminds you of them. That's not them just letting you know, though. So this reading is just confirmation, you know, of just making sure that you knew that this person is there.
Right.
You know, sometimes it's a neighbor, and I've seen like with like nurses, though, or like people that work in hospice.
Yeah.
Sometimes there might be like a grandmother or an aunt energy, but they're not related to the person. So I've seen them come and say, "Hey, thank you for helping. You know, this is, you know, it's like you need to change this just a little bit to, you know, to align better with yourself."
Sure.
Yeah.
So I've seen that, though, too.
And we also say, you know, come in with an open mind, because you, like you said, you never know who's going to come through. Could be that next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, and you might feel like a father's coming in, but it could be somebody that's like a father to you, you know. So,
or new as a father, too. I've
Right.
seen that, though, as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, and I've seen, though, too, though, like, you know, people, like, they come, like, have a best friend for life, and they die suddenly, or they're older and one of them passes away because of age, and they actually come in as a sibling, and they're like, I never had this. They never were my sister. I'm like, well, is this a friend that you thought of as a sister?
Exactly.
And they're like, oh yes. So sometimes the same energy might come in, but it's not always literal.
Yeah. And sometimes they're amazed because they might be doing a certain thing during the week, and that loved one will come in and say, I saw you doing this. And they go, oh my God, I just did that, yesterday.
This morning, or even
yesterday, this morning, yesterday. Yeah.
So it's like, so I always like to remind them, it's like, well, they're always around us, so they know what we're doing. They're here to support us. All we gotta do is ask them. Yeah. That's all we gotta do. So what do you find the most, like when you do, like when someone's asking for a card reading, is there like a common question that people ask though, or even when doing the mediumship?
Not really, sometimes, I'll ask them, if when I do the cards, is there something you want to know? And they'll just say, whatever you see, whatever you get, and it's usually something that's going on when I do the cards around their life.
Yeah. It's happening at the moment. Yeah.
And like I say, if I do a combination where, I do the mediumship, I'll say if a particular situation has come up and they say, yeah. And I said, well, I might have your mother's coming in, and you're alike, the two of you are alike, and think back to when you were a child and this happened to you, and so they come in and they get the advice and everything, and then they it's like an awe-inspiring moment for them at that time,
There's something they never thought of, but something like, so it might be like part of their everyday life.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and every once in a while, you'll get the person that wants to know about their love life.
Yeah, so do get that question a lot though too. But I mean, how can you not wonder about that though? It's like we're not meant to go through life by ourselves.
Right.
So
right.
It's just, I get a lot of health questions, but I always tell people, it's like, look, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse. But this is what I'm seeing though, so it's like, please follow up with the doctor.
Well, see how you, both touch on people that have inquisitions. How would somebody get in touch with you if somebody wants to speak to you? Or do you have some type of
like
website or?
Yes. So I have my email.
Okay.
Right.
Which is?
It's BEV Bev Sylvia, like my last name. It's SYL.
Okay.
Yeah. So I say I have two first names.
Okay.
And 521 at AOL. So I still have AOL.
Right.
Yes,
So it works, right? Yeah.
So do
It's
I.
AOL.com, right?
I have
AOL.com.
AOL.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes. We've talked about
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Bev Sylvia, SYLVIA 51.
No, it's Bev. So it's SYL. So Bev Sil,
Okay.
521
Okay.
at AOL.com.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's one way. That's probably, is that the best way to get hold of you? Email?
Yeah, and then my phone number.
Okay.
It's 617 755 4509.
Okay.
I had to think there for a second.
Well, you don't call yourself too often,
Is that
right?
my-
I mean, it's just a funny
Right,
thing, though.
right. No, you don't want to get mixed up with your cell phone. Your
Well, I only have one
That's
phone. I don't want,
yeah.
That's all I have to worry about. One phone. That's it. That one
it
phone
easy.
goes down, I'm in trouble.
Oh, yeah. Especially these days, we don't have landlines anymore like we used to.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, yeah.
So for the cards, though, is it only like, do you read the oracle cards and the tarot, or there's like a
I do
combination of the
regular
two?
tarot too.
Okay.
I do regular tarot, but I find I get the most inspiration and the most benefit with the angel card, But I do have some, different cards that I've gotten when I've visited different countries. I've gone into different shops and
Okay.
Oh, that's
gotten
interesting.
tarot cards from
Very
Scotland and
Yeah.
different, I also have studied with some of the overseas, UK mediums,
Yeah.
So I did some courses through them,
Yeah.
and I haven't gone to Arthur Finley,
Okay.
but I did do a week with Dominic Vogue.
Okay. I'm not familiar with him.
So is Finley from England? Or?
Yeah. Arthur
Yeah,
College.
in England.
Arthur Finley College.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Metaphysical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Metaphysical classes and stuff like that. Yeah.
So and
Yeah. So I knew about it. So should I ask that
yeah,
that
but I
way?
was ignorant, so I
yeah, and Dominic had his in Scotland, so
Okay.
it was nice to get to go, and I'd love to go back to Scotland too, because,
Scotland,
and
yes.
also I did a class with Gordon Smith, who was well known down there too.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've had, been fortunate enough through the Answers Spiritualist Church to get quite a few mediums that do classes,
Yeah.
that are, very good, and teach you different techniques, because it's always a learning procedure,
See what works.
it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, it doesn't matter. There's always a new way or a new way of looking at things, or a new way to bring spirit in, or a new way,
Yeah.
to connect,
Sure. I
mean, we all
understand.
struggle sometimes,
Yeah, I have that. Like, where we think we're off, but yet the client, it's just fine with the reading. But yeah, sometimes
It's
you get
amazing
that
how
off.
somebody sometimes says something that somebody else has said, but because they said it a different way, it clicks.
Yeah.
yeah,
I find that
yeah,
so easy.
yeah,
A lot of times when I'm talking with something about law or something like
right,
that,
right,
you just try to think of another way to explain it,
exactly. Like when we do, like if I do a lecture, you can only in church just talk about just so many things.
Yeah.
So some things are going to be repeated, but everybody has their own technique and their own way of saying things, you know, and their own way of looking at things that connect with people, you know. So, and sometimes repetition too, you know.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, sometimes if you hear the same thing enough, so you might just get it at that point.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so yeah, I like to tell my clients, like when doing my readings, or it's like sometimes something might come up like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, look, you need to pay attention to this. So
Right.
I've learned that if it comes up at least twice, you need to listen to this.
Right.
You know, because if you don't really pay attention, it's going to keep on coming until you get it.
Right.
You know.
Like sometimes I'll be reading somebody and they'll say, well, somebody told me that I went to a medium and they told me the same thing. I said, well, that's a validation and that's something you should be listening to, because if they're telling you more than once, there's a reason.
Yeah, definitely need to mind that, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have the choice of dealing with it though, but it's like if it keeps coming up, you might want to just like consider it very strongly. You know, it's like at least try it out, see if it works for you or not.
Or like they kept telling me, you know, you should be doing this, you better do this, you better do this. So I didn't pay attention.
Yeah,
Look, here you go.
You have to be knocked over in the head though.
Knock you over the head and get you going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it couldn't be much clearer than that though, at that point, though, you know, really.
That made me start wondering, yeah.
Yeah. And then the class though for the Joy and Virtue, the angel class,
Yeah, that was
just
kind of
kept following. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just like too easy. I'm like, well,
Okay,
you meant to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is, that, I mean, there's so many varieties of angels that do so many different things.
Yeah.
And the power, I mean, you think of these things floating around with the wings and so angelic, and yet the source of their energy is just pure electricity, and it can be fierce. You know,
it comes from a place of love, but that love is fierce. Absolutely fierce.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, you gotta do is ask for their assistance, and they're right there every single time.
That's right.
Yeah. It's amazing how much they do just because it's like, hey, just help me through this. You know.
We think we have a handle on what's going on there. We're clueless.
Just barely the surface. Barely the surface. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm just glad we started to remember again. You know, that connection that we have with the spirit side. You know, remembering again. Now, what's the email and your phone number again?
So the email is BEVSYL521@AOL.com.
Okay.
And the phone number is 617-755-4509.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure everyone got it though. Do you have like a social media page or a handle?
I'm on Facebook, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's under Beverly Sylvia. It's me, my son, and my 2 grandkids.
Oh, great. So is your son connected as well, or is...
No, but he you know, he knows, he's
aware.
He's aware.
I can only imagine.
He's aware, yeah. My grandson's thinks they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 9 and 11, so the older one thinks it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that cool age. So wait till they have the teenagers, which are
Yeah.
all about
Yeah.
You're not supposed to know that.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you know? Yeah.
But like you said, they're always with you, especially when you need them. I can't tell you, like, I know if I had told you that I had gotten into a car accident.
I remember that.
Yeah, I got rear-ended right on 28 and got pushed across the traffic. And what's your instinct is to shut your eyes because you're going right for the guardrail.
Yeah, it's a busy highway.
And all I heard was focus, And I thought I was on the Seacon Speedway. I don't know how I managed to avoid the cars coming, but I always tell people that, with the crazy drivers on the road now, I always take my uncle and my father, who both were truck drivers, with me every time I drive.
It works.
And
right?
I ended up on the other side back on the other side of the road, and kind of like in a shock.
Right.
And when the police officer asked where I was going, he asked all questions, and he said, "What happened?" And I told him, and he said, "Did you hit anything?" I said, "No." "Did your airbag go?" I said, "No." He says, "Where were you going?" I said, "I was going to church." And he says, "Well, when you get to church, you better say a couple of thank yous."
Yeah. Yeah. Really. That's an understatement, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a scary time, though, for you that morning, though, too.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
That's right. It's amazing how, you say you're going to church and so many people lose their atheism when they're under deathbed,
That's something. Yeah, with the potassium spirit, though, at that point, though, it's like, maybe there is something to the afterlife,
Well, I think it's very interesting. So many people get glimpses before they pass, or get glimpses of family or friends or things like that, then they realize that there has to be some connection.
Yeah.
It's just, you don't make that stuff up.
No,
you can't, though. As specific as all the mothers, there's no way. Yeah, I find a lot more people becoming open up because we're kind of forced into one way or the other.
right.
Sure.
It's usually...
Well, most people remember seeing their loved ones when they're just before they're passing, and yet when they see them before they're passing, they actually see them like when they're 20 or 30 years old. Most people will not think of trying to figure somebody what they look like when they were 20 or 30 years old, because they remember what they looked like before they passed.
Yeah.
The mind just can't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I remember with my cousin, though, she had a major medical event, and she was in the hospital for I want to say a year and a half for this time. She had about sport thing, I feel fair for her, but she had some karmic stuff she had to work out in this life. And she had to be put into medically induced coma. She had to go to Boston for that. And she was saying, though, that to remember this so vividly, she's saying that our grandmother came Now, this grandmother died when I was 5. So, and I'm in my 40s now, though. So it's been a while. She's been in spirit, and she told her, "It's like you're not done yet." She was tired because she had, this was like a third like major bout of being sick,
Right.
Physically sick.
Right. Right.
And she was a nurse, so she was a great person. All the nieces and nephews absolutely adored her.
Right.
And like one of our uncles came to her. Now he was one of he died older, but he came to her when he got like the way he was dressed to his second wife, like the day of his wedding. Now this particular cousin's a little bit older than me, but she doesn't remember what he wore because she was young during the wedding.
Right.
And our aunt, she was telling my aunt about this. She's like, "That's what your uncle wore though when we got married." And I'm like, "What, really?" So sometimes they do come younger, but I mean, to your point, though,
Right.
we don't remember that because
Right.
it's not how we remember them to be
Right.
when they passed.
Right.
So it's just, and that's, she became a lot more open to the spirit side since then.
Bev, thank you so much for sharing. This has been a very, very enjoyable discussion. I thoroughly enjoy your sharing with us.
And I have to tell you, my father does come through young sometimes.
Oh, does he really?
And as a matter of fact, Rita Berkowitz, she drew a picture of him years ago when he was like 25. And it matches his wedding picture.
That's so interesting, though, isn't it, though? Sometimes they come to us the way they want us to remember them.
Yeah.
The
way they want to be remembered.
Yes, that's what I meant.
I mean, in the book, Life After